a ball.
Okay.
I'll come in
So
when I
it
can.
it's about taking you and giving you the physical condition of a boxer. A lot of people want to know, how do boxers get in shape? And you see the physiques and you see the tone and you see the definition and you see the abdominal regions. And there are young athletes in the sport today that want to know if they're doing this or if they're overtraining or undertraining, and what's enough that you'll know exactly how to hit that thing on the head when it comes down to training the body for competitive boxing. And there are a lot of people out here today in the sport that really are looking to learn more about these things. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to table this conversation and let you all know, from someone who's been in the physical training business for 4 decades as well as boxing, some of my behind the scenes and what encouraged me to write. I got like 12 of the books that I've gotten have are based on the fitness, and those all have their own categories. So when you hear me preface the 29 and 30 books that I've written on boxing, I don't even include my fitness world, because that is an entirely different thing. That's my physiology. That's me breaking things down for you. So today I get to share where this information came from. And a lot of you know me, but a lot of you are brand new to the channel. And what I've done and I've had the liberty to do is be educated in the field of nutrition and the field of fitness on an entirely different level. So today what I'm going to do is, put this out front and center and give you some information that hopefully you can utilize. First of all, I'm going to say special thanks to our sponsors, because they make it possible. Jab Juice Consultant, making it possible for companies and businesses like myself to operate on a different level and get the right information to those individuals so that they can kind of develop their business and construct their business in a manner in which it's processable. And that's what we all run into, a lot of anxiety and trying to figure out how to run businesses. But Jab Juice streamlines everything, compartmentalizes it, gives you order and structure. And if you have questions, you can reach them at jabjuice.com, and it's a powerhouse to add to your arsenal. So, with that being said, I'd like to introduce my co host here today.
Hey, hey everyone.
Good deal.
Ooh,
Good
yeah, we
deal.
had a little technical stuff, so sorry I'm a few minutes late.
It's all good. We're getting ready to table this conversation with the developing the story, because one of the guys who actually follows us has just recently spoke about an injury and having to not
Mhm.
compete for 11 months. And we all know how
It's tough.
important it is to stay active when you box. Any combat sport that you take a cold, vacation from, it's going to impact you. And one of the things that we suggest whenever you have to come back from an injury is realizing this: there are certain things in the body that you have to pay close attention to. That's the internal, that's the mid-range, and that's the external. So the internal is first. So
Mhm.
what happens on the inside is the body develops a level of what we call uh the word, you'll know it as flaccid. But what happens is atrophy, because when you get injured, like I've recently had an injury to my shoulder, it was developed, I nurtured it and built it into frozen shoulder. So what happens is the body from that point, if there's no activity, you suffer muscle atrophy, which is lack of strength in the muscle, not
Mhm.
enough blood flow to keep the muscle active. And when you don't have an active muscle, what you'll find is that muscle starts to get this is the word I used a minute ago, flaccid,
Mhm.
and it's limp. And there's no inertia going on, and meaning that pop that you feel when you hit the bag or miss or someone. And when you're doing these things to get yourself back, here's the method that you take to approach getting yourself back to your higher good. First and foremost, movement. And I use things like rotations, extensions, flexion, shake
Mhm.
weights, the inertia bar, because what you're doing is tier 3 of the body is internal. You got to get those things there and wake them up and remove scar tissue. And that's where inertia comes into play. You open up the body, the chest, the cavities, the balls, the sockets, the ligaments, tendons, and everything that has an axis point near it. And the axis point is exactly where the body bends at its hemisphere. So the wrist, the fingers, elbow, shoulder, everywhere that there's an axis point, that's a
Mhm.
place where the body bends. So you have to get those things back in action. One thing that I had to do, I had to make sure that my shoulder would have full range. And so I made sure that I did stimulation. So I used TENS unit. Matter of fact, it's right here.
Mhm.
A high dial unit, and you'll see the pads that I stick to my shoulder.
Yep.
Bing. And see, this works on the second layer. So we're talking the muscles and the tendons. Now, I also have an ultrasound that goes further down. It
Mhm.
goes 8 inches into the arm, and your arm does go 8 inches deep. If it cuts open, it's like boom, it's like super massive. Why? Because I know, because I was in the medical field, and it didn't make sense to me before that, but now when you've done thousands of surgeries, you understand that there's a lot more behind the human body than what you see with the naked eye. So with that being said, our focus, once you get that inertia, you get that thing open, you get the things moving again, and
Mhm.
open it up. Now you want to do what? You want to create muscle stimulation. And so what we would do is we take you through after you get all the movements there and everything, because if you don't and you start building muscle and the movement isn't as
Mhm.
at its full capacity, you'll get stiff, you'll be robotic, and that's not good for boxing. So Stacy, what you were going to say is I was going to ask that if you could pop up the kind of calisthenic training regimens that we do. Is called our 12 peaks. And this 12 peak,
Yeah, give me just a second. That was part. You just keep talking, keep doing your
okay, but
thing.
the
Yep.
12 peaks, what we do is we develop you over
There you
a
go.
total course of a camp, right? So that 12 peaks is a very, very powerful thing. That's good. And that, of course, you see it starting at week 6, 4
Mhm.
through 6. Well, weeks 1 through 4, there's a different purpose, a cause and effect. And
Mhm.
when you're doing that, your objective is now to first get the blood flowing to the muscle through the ligaments, tendons, and getting your body back to a place where it's not flaccid. So you'll start to feel a little tone in the first 4 weeks. You'll feel like you transform. You'll be a little more sore because if you're
So
suffering from muscle atrophy, the soreness is on an entirely different level. So, some of us have experienced that. And if you box, you definitely have gone home and had a hard time getting out of the bed with, or even sitting on the toilet seat.
yeah.
Because when
Yeah,
you're doing,
going downstairs is a killer if you've done
if you
that
got
leg work.
steps, going
So,
downstairs is an
yeah.
absolute beast. But going up the steps ain't that much of a pleasurable ride either. I'm
No.
telling you. So now you're in the first phase. So that first 3 weeks is all about getting yourself to a place where now you're feeling almost like you were pre-camp. So now from weeks 4 through 6, which is a little what you just saw, that weeks 4 through 6 is all about blood flow, increasing the blood flow, and then getting the muscles to react. This is where you'll find more quick twitchy development going on. This is where you'll start to increase your VO2, which is the amount
Yeah.
of the amount of blood that flows from the heart to the muscle in a minute. So if the heart can pump 48, 42 liters of blood through the body from the heart to the muscles a minute, that means you're back up to speed. You're ready to go. And these measurements are real. If you're an
Yeah.
athlete and you really want to know where you are, measure your VO2. Go get it measured. And this is what we did. We had 6 Olympic athletes, gold medal athletes in one facility. at one time, and you understood who was in shape and people who thought they were in shape. That's why it's so great to train with people who are elite, because when you train with a lot of people that are elite, like down here in Boxer in Miami, it's so much different. Everybody's on an entirely different
True.
mentality,
Yeah.
mindset, because you see that person right next to you standing there, gold medal, gold medal, gold medal, gold medal, highest level of training. Matter of fact, Victor Conte was partners with their head trainer, Trevor Graham, who basically took these guys through a program that took them to an entirely different level, at the level of athleticism. When you're competing at the Olympic level, international, the best in the world, the most conditioned athletes, that is nothing to sneeze at. You get what I mean? When you're in the lights of a person that has that kind of knowledge and you're able to do it and utilize it, that's where you create separation. And so with the people who have access to that kind of training, you understand a little bit more about what's overdoing it and what's not underdoing it. Stacy, is there any questions that I needed to address that I was getting into, because I wanted to basically break down the human body tier 3, level 3.
Well, yeah, you were kind of speaking about possibly going into overtraining. I know we get a lot of questions about that. We get people in our DMs that they want your opinion always of, is do I need to be doing 2-a-days? Is only training 3 days a week enough? When is it considered overtraining and putting myself on that? It can be sometimes razor blade thin.
Yeah.
What's going to put them over the edge of putting them in harm's way of injury, which is the last thing you want before you're going into a fight or a competition. Doesn't have to be boxing or MMA, but just in competition or life in general.
Yeah.
What's too much?
What's too much is when you've looked at your regimen, and if you haven't started from the beginning phases, because the beginning phases basically tell you exactly where you need to begin. The beginning phases are set to first get the internal body connected to layer 2, like I
Mhm.
said, which is the tendons, which is the ligaments, and all of those things. Now the skeletal alignment, that's layer 1. That's all about the axis points and things like that. So these things happen in phases. That's how you train the body. You do not try to combust. I see guys do it all the time. They just focus on the muscle training. And so when it's fight night, they're all pumped up, they're gassing out because the muscles sucking all of the oxygen from the body. So no matter if you had a high VO2 max or a low VO2 max, it's
Mhm.
almost the same, because on fight night, if you have not conditioned your body right, if you've over abundantly trained in one area, instead of the skeletal alignment and developing the openness of the body and the frame, because the frame has to be trained the same amount of time that the exoskeleton needs to be trained. So when you find people doing that, and that's what I see 100%, I don't see people not training that way. I see them concentrated in one area, pounding the muscles, doing cardio and pounding the muscles. And you see every once in a while, you see people getting exposed to yoga. I've been doing yoga with my fighters for 20 years. That's just one facet of it, because you can
Mhm.
easily injure yourself in yoga, because you have to develop your body for yoga. And people just go into yoga. Doesn't matter if you're
They do.
experienced or not. If you got a new yoga teacher and they teaching you yoga, and you go in there and you're doing it, and all of them work on a different pace. And when they're on a different pace, they're doing their thing. That causes conflict
Mhm.
conflict of interest, and they do it at a pace that you're not ready for, and then tweak tweak tweak, hamstring, lower back, shoulder, neck. That's what happens. So you have to realize this: yoga isn't phase 1. yoga is a phase, but it's not at the beginning. Opening the body
Yeah.
isn't just going to level 3 yoga. You have to realize how to do this. And now, once you put 3 weeks in the first, this is why you saw the first 4, 5, and 6 weeks, 4, 5, and 6 of that training regimen of 12 peaks. You
Hmm.
need to do 1, 2, 3. That's all about opening your body up and getting it and developing it throughout the
Yeah.
duration. And then you go into the next layer, which is the muscle, fiber, tendons, ligaments. And then you get in that thing on what we call optimizing the
Mhm.
muscle optimization system. That's where you get muscles pumping the blood. That's
Yeah.
when you get the breathing techniques and the mechanics down, and you know how to channel all of that 42 to 48 liters of blood that you're pumping with that VO2 max. You're able to operate under no all amounts of distress. It doesn't matter what someone brings, you stay calm under pressure because you're confident in not only just your physical well-being, but your ability to box in the
Yeah.
pocket, in the ring, against the ropes. It doesn't matter. This is where you want to say that you're developing your body like the ultimate athlete. And so that's where we develop what that program, Battle Ready.
Battle ready. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. I'm glad that you brought up muscle optimization because one of the questions that we get a lot is, hey, what about weight training?
Yeah.
What should I be doing? What about dumbbell training and that sort of thing? And, I know that you have a very specific science related to this, especially when you're a combat athlete of any sort and you got to perform in
Yeah.
that ring or in that octagon and
Yeah.
not gas out,
Yeah.
but you want to
Yeah.
build that strength. What does
Yeah.
the athlete do?
Yeah, but you got to understand, it doesn't matter about strength if you don't know how to use your strength. Anyway, you don't know how to use your strength. You don't know how to breathe when you're operating in the pockets. You don't know how to breathe when you're getting excited. So many other different layers. So I think we will put on the calendar to go over these internal conversations that people will need to hear about. And I think that's exactly what we will do. We'll put it on the docket sometime in March, and what we
Mhm.
will do is give people the updates and let them know. All they have to do, you have to make sure you subscribe to
Yep.
masterboxingllc.com, or you can subscribe to jabjuice.com. Either one,
Mhm.
just make sure you subscribe. And when you do, just realize you'll get a notification
You will.
and an invite to either take part on the Zoom, and we will definitely do it in house and give you guys the understanding and kind of map out what that 12 Peaks program really entails so that you can either copycat it or really get educated about it. If you're working with
Yeah.
people who are at elite levels of combat, you need to know how to do it, and you need it from a medical standpoint. Our medical training system and our nutritional dietary system
Yep.
is all through a real university,
Mhm.
tested and what we call mother approved. So we're
Yeah.
not just some of these people who are putting out
Yeah.
workouts and
AI
really don't.
didn't do it.
Yeah,
AI
yeah.
didn't do it.
Our training systems are
Yeah.
decades of data behind them. And it's all about basically understanding how to train the naked body, because that's our focus. What separated us is we train the elements of the human body that were invisible to the naked eye. That's why I know exactly where to start training from. Mostly everyone that's watching on this call is between, they like to train all 16 muscles,
Mhm.
12 to 16 muscles that they see. Well, see, I'm an expert egghead, and I'm a nerd with it. I train 641 muscles in the body, and I did the education. I understood it. I cut them open. I split them open. I stitched them up. I learned it on the other side, and I learned it in the training field. I learned it in the NFL. And I learned it in professional boxing. I learned it in so many different avenues, and I can apply it. I've made bodybuilders, I've made marathonists, I've done all these different kinds of things. My systems have been tested all over the world and for decades on end. So we got the data, and I understand the human body. So we just wanted to give you guys something
Mhm.
clear that you guys have to look forward to when you're developing your athletes. Just understand it's more to it than how much training the muscles should I do to get stronger, because dexterity, bone density, all of these things are a different category. They have nothing to do with anything that you can do inside of a gym. So with that being said,
That's it.
keep it locked
Mhm.
and tune in. When we go deeper, we're going to really just dispel everything that you need to know about the human body. So hopefully you guys got something out of this.
Mhm.
Until next time, continue blessings. This was the 20th anniversary of Master Boxing being
Yes.
Master Boxing, not
Mhm.
my whole tenure, but it's when Master Boxing's name came to surface. So thank you guys for supporting us. And if
Thank you.
anybody
Yeah,
has any questions, make sure you hit our admins up in the DMs. And
they're
hopefully
there.
you guys are really pumped up about this sport and the activity levels. And just for those guys who are in it and are not who on the parameters, you can train like a boxer as well. We got
Absolutely.
Battle Ready up there for you. You guys be blessed at Godspeed. And if you want to train in one of these programs, the free one, just type the word challenge, and we'll see you all soon in the winner circle. Special shouts out to my
Peace.
brothers and
Mhm.
Top Trainer You, our sponsor, jabjuice.com, making it possible for us to be able to reach out to you with our awareness of just doing our social media in a way that it serves you best. And that's what Jab Juice does. Sculpt it,
Right. Mhm.
craft it, and make sure you deliver it like a champion. Influencer for life. Be blessed at Godspeed. We
Bye,
out of
guys.
here. Peace.
Mhm.